very warm good morning from the pit lane in Balaton Park circuit for the start of TCR Eastern Europe and TCR European Endurance. For the endurance race, we are here with the team coordinator of Texaco Team MS, Elif Tanka. She basically takes care of everything inside the team. Formation lap is go now. What's the expectation for you for the race?
Okay, first of all, are you sure? Because I'm famous for talking too much. Formation is not enough. Kidding. Yesterday was not 100% of our team. We had a small problem with one of mine. Well, you know, when you have 3 cars running, things happen. Today is another day. We will give the best of ourselves. I hope to see you on the podium. Anyway, we like this format very much. We trust it very much. So we are happy to be here.
We are happy to have you. Good luck, Elif, and to all the team Texaco. And Pavel, to you and Daniele to enjoy this race.
And we have the rookie rocket.
So the driver's already on the formation lap for the race number 2 of the weekend in the Eastern European TCR and also the TCR Endurance. And we are here together at the commentary box with cars already having started their preparation with reverse grid order from yesterday's race. And if you're new to the TCR world, then I'll have you know that after the race number 1, the race order is taken to decide the order for the starting grid for race number 2 with 6 to 10 positions reversed, and it's always the job of the winning driver of race 1 to actually draw a number. And yeah, if you win, you don't want to pick the highest number, which is unfortunately what happened yesterday. So number 10 it is, and that means that it is promoting Vít Smejkal on pole position, even though he was given a 5-second penalty added to his race time yesterday, having started slightly outside of his starting position on the grid. There was also another penalty for the race winner, Attila Bucci, who was found to have jumped the start, and that cost him 10 seconds that were added to his race time, basically demoting him all the way to 7th, which effectively means that he will be starting from row number 2 in 4th. It is therefore Express Auto Racing's Vít Smejkal on pole position. Alongside him, Ivars Valers in his Audi RS3. Row number 2, that is Franjo Dubreta in his Cupra Leon, and alongside the i30 Hyundai of yesterday's winner Attila Bucci. We're definitely going to expect him to be very fast and making ground pretty much right away. Martin Kadlecik has good chances after yesterday's race. He's 5th. He didn't really have the best of starts yesterday, which is something he'll try to make up for today. From 5th on the grid, Petr Čížek alongside him on row number 3 in 6th. Behind them, Giacomo Germandi and René Kircher. We've got Adam Kout and Matěj Homola, the Janík Motorsport Elantras, sharing the row number 5. Jordan Dolishka, David Kajaya in 11th and 12th from Žarko Knego and Jiří Zbožínek, and then the little bit of a gap and the grid for the endurance race with pairings of Konukoglu and Brigliadori, Kachani Okiai, Barkovic Takáč and Pinar Özen. Cars getting ready for the start here in Balaton.
And it will be very interesting to see who gets the jump on perhaps the poleman towards turn 1, but the cars are now ready to start race 2 here with the green flag showing.
And so there we go, the red lights are coming up, 5 of them currently coming off, and it seems to be rather slow start by pole sitter Vít Smejkal, which means that Ivars Valers coming through immediately, Franjo Dubreta as well, Attila Bucci moving to the outside to make the move for P2. Vít Smejkal holding on to 3rd. Petr Čížek also in the mix, already having to defend from the Elantras. Martin Kadlecik making a great start as well and moving to 3rd. And down the inside goes the Honda of Giacomo Germandi. Vít Smejkal losing yet more places in the first sector, dropping all the way down towards the back end of the top 10. It is Attila Bucci already in the lead, having passed Ivars Valers, so that was quick for the local boy, and he is already leading the race. Žarko Knego in his Elantra, diving down the inside under braking. He will not want to be too aggressive after yesterday's big crash with David Kajaya. And Vít Smejkal somewhere around 10th place already, so it is Attila Bucci leading. This is Matěj Homola, who inherited the victory yesterday. Last year's series champion, making up ground, currently getting ahead of Petr Cížek. Adam Kout trying to follow suit behind. And we've got another fight on our hands. It seems to be between the Audis there. Side by side, Martin Kadlecik trying to make a move for second, with Ivars Valers defending from what is effectively becoming the inside line into the chicane. Great move by Martin Kadlecik. Up to second he goes. Giacomo Germandi also tries to follow suit. Valers kicking up some dust as he is a little bit wide, exiting the last corner. And this is the end of the final of the first one. René Kircher also moving up with his Honda. Maťo Homola already making a move, having a look down the inside, but he was a little too far behind Adam Kout. Side by side with Petr Cížek through the opening hairpins. Cížek holding the inside line into the left one, but around the outside goes Kout. This is going to be the longest way around you can imagine here in Hungary. And Cížek using that to his advantage to defend his place. So Pucci already making a run for it with a gap of nearly 2 seconds over the line. But what is Martin Kadlecik going to do on his debut weekend in the series? Having dominated the Clio Cup last season, he's now moving up the ranks with Aditis Racing Team, who has already tasted championship success a couple of years back with Bartosz Groszek, who's also present here at the track.
And it was a great start by Attila, because he was down to 7th place after yesterday's penalty, and of course with the reverse grid he had to gain a couple of places to get into P1. He did a great job, able to overtake everyone around the outside of turn 1, which was very impressive of him. But of course Martin Kadlecik trying to now put him under pressure, although the gap is already 1.7 seconds, whereas for the TCR European Endurance guys it was a great start by Konukoglu and Brigliadori, with the latter now driving for the first part of the race, keeping P1 ahead of Pinar Özen and of course Ibrahim Okyay currently in third.
This is getting packed because Ivars Valers, as he is losing a little more ground, he is now piling up the order behind himself. Petr Cížek trying to find his way past, and these are fights towards the back then, and we have the fight behind Valers, who is currently 6th, with Petr Cížek in 7th, Adam Kout in 8th, and David Kajaya, the team, miraculously fixing the Honda after yesterday's race. They had a lot of work ahead of them. I visited the team yesterday, and things were not looking very positive back then, but still the team managed to turn the tables and make miracles overnight and got the car ready. So David Kajaya back on the grid and in the race. He's trying to be careful now, but making ground anyway.
Yeah, and we saw a great move by Eric Brigliadori, the leader of the TCR European Endurance, down the inside of Zarko Knego for 11th place overall right now, of course, still leading the TCR European Endurance Stage 2, whereas we have a move now.
Petr Cížek making a move into the chicane on Ivars Valers. He has to stay on the inside to be able to attack into the hairpin, 3 wide into the hairpin, and also David Kajaya trying to sneak his way through. Look at him, that was a smart move. He sort of hid himself down the inside, but now he's having to defend from Adam Kout. Big fight there, side by side, and David Kajaya in the end dropping all the way to the back of that group once again. It was a smart move, but it didn't really work in the end, but still he's trying whatever he can. Adam Kout fighting front and back, now finding some space down the inside on Valers. So is Kajaya, and they are coming through. The Audi and the Honda running alongside each other down the pit straight. Amazing stuff. Petr Cížek already through and disappearing. Adam Kout trying to follow him. David Kajaya has now dealt with Ivars Valers, who has now dropped down to 9th. Zarko Knego in 11th behind the endurance leaders.
Yes, with Eric Brigliadori now in the top 10, looking to gain some more seconds on Kout, Valers and Kajaya, of course, with the beautiful battle in the second part of the track on lap number 3, and now with the cars getting towards the second sector, We should also talk about Attila Bucci actually, because he is lapping almost a second quicker than Kadlecic in second place, really gaining quite a lot of time now, 2.9 seconds ahead.
Attila Bucci setting fastest lap after fastest lap, 1:43.889 on the previous tour. 1:44.7, that's what Kadlecic managed to do. His fastest time of 1:44.2, not matched on the previous run, but still great progress by the Czech driver. Giacomo Germandi up to third from René Kircher, and yesterday's race winner, Matěj Homola. There is Attila Bucci in his i30 Hyundai. Making his way around the final sector, back onto the start and finish straight. At a great pace today. He had to fight for it yesterday, then was first on the road, but got stripped of the victory in the end eventually, as I mentioned, as he had been found to have breached the regulations at the start, basically moved before the lights went out. And Matěj Homola already troubling René Kircher in their fight for fourth. Those two fought for the championship title last season, and it was the Slovakian driver coming out on top in the end, and most importantly scoring momentous victories on his home soil in Slovakia. And with the Eastern European TCR, with great experience he's already gained also through the touring car racing world, scored that desired first title in the series.
Homola now putting pressure on fourth place, with Kircher trying to defend from one of the most decorated drivers on the grid today. Matěj Homola, of course, being a WTCR winner, and on that side, one of the other drivers really standing out on the grid is Eric Brigliadori, now up into 9th place. Of course, he was fighting for the title in TCR Italy for 2 years in a row, in 2020 and 2021. Really promising driver, born in 2000, and of course now up into 9th place with David Kajaya right in front of him in a battle for 8th.
Matěj Homola, this is Adam Kolt lining up for a move on Petr Čížek, but he's going to miss the chicane, which means he won't be able to keep that place. He's having to let Čížek past, which he is, and through that he is dropping back down to 7th. Adam Kolt started from pole yesterday, and didn't really manage to hold that one. We were talking, and he just said, that it was my mistake. The team guys just tried, were just joking around and said, yeah, just blame it on the car and we'll make an excuse. And Adam said, no, this was basically my mistake. I have to admit that, and I have to improve on that. And today he's been making ground after the start. Not as quickly as Homola, but if Kolt manages to overtake Čížek, they will be together once again. By the way, Martin Kadlecic upped the ante and lapped a tiny little bit faster than Bucci on the previous lap. 1:44.3, with Bucci doing 1:44.4, dropping the pace slightly. We'll see what the tyres do on the i30. It was a blistering pace, honestly, at the start of the race for the local driver. Let's see if he hasn't taken away too much out of the tyres too soon.
And he was worried about that yesterday, talking to you actually on the grid, saying, that tyre management would have been a key in both races, and we'll see if this 3-second gap will be enough to actually take home the win this time around after being penalized yesterday. But Bucci so far making some good progress. Of course, he will have to be quite worried about Matěj Homola and Adam Kolt trying to get back towards the top 5.
Matěj Homola, in the meantime, has already dealt with René Kircher, moving himself up to 4th. There they are, and Adam Kolt now trying to line up for a move. And if it doesn't work down the inside here, it might work with the switchback. No, but Čížek in the end opens the door, and basically he invited Kolt down the inside because he didn't want him to switch back for the left-hander. But at the exit, he's being a little too wide, and Adam Colt finds the way through. So Adam Colt moving up the 6th place currently, and he can now set after René Kircher.
And it was a great move, actually, a very intelligent move by Adam Colt, who now is looking for the top 5 with René Kircher just ahead in the Honda Civic FK7, now with the Mercer Motorsport car of David Kajaya, trying to get back in front. But of course, now we will see a couple of battles with Macho Homola trying to get back towards the top 3, with Giacomo Germandi currently in 3rd place, setting good pace, whereas Kadlecic and Bucci are pretty much level on pace right now.
Bucci dropping the pace slightly to preserve his tyres. He's been enjoying 3 seconds of a gap. There's Giacomo Germandi in his brand new Honda Civic. Motorsport with the older generation, but on par, on pace this weekend. There's Matteo Homolat. He's overtaken Kircher, but has not been managing to really move away from him. Look at Brigliadori, honestly, not only leading the endurance class, but really making inroads into the Eastern European group of cars, and troubling yet another driver. Now they have a fight against David Kajaya on their hands.
Yes, and unsurprisingly, Brigliadori being very quick, of course, with one of the most talented drivers on the TCR Endurance Grid and in the TCR European scene as well, with Brigliadori now trying to have a look at David Kajaya, the gap only being 0.8 of a second. Of course, leading the TCR European Endurance Stage 2, which is the second part of the race that lasts 2 hours for this new endurance format in the TCR scene, but looking, of course, to bring the car home safely to the pit stop. And let's not forget that Brigliadori has more fuel in the car, because he has to complete the whole 60 minutes of racing today, whereas the TCR Eastern Europe guys only have now 11.5 minutes to go.
So we've just moved to the second half for the Eastern European Sprint, which is still leading by 2.9 seconds, 144.6 on the previous lap. Kadlecic 144.5, so nothing really to choose from, and you can't really say that Kadlecic is getting closer. Basically, Attila Bucci currently controlling his pace, controlling and managing the gap. I believe that if Martin Kadlecic speeds up a little more, then we'll see response from Bucci. So managing the gap nicely, 2.8 currently, 144.8 from both of the leading drivers, 144.9 by Germandi, but Matteo Homola 44.4, so he's currently one of the fastest, but the absolute fastest on this lap, well, let's say personal best, was Adam Colt 144.2, as he's trying to get behind the back of René Kircher, 3 seconds separating him from the German driver, with Homola already extending the gap to just over 1 second over the Mertel Motorsport Honda.
And Colt doesn't really have a lot of time, does he? Because he only has 10 minutes to go. He needs to keep this pace up and actually find a way through on Kircher, who we saw having great defense skills against Homola before, and therefore it will be very tough for him to for Colt to get past the German driver to score yet another top 5 finish, which could be crucial for the championship.
Attila Bucci so far leading from the start. We were robbed a little bit of the chance to see him come through the field from 10th on the grid, where he would have been had he not been penalised for jumping the start. But that of course means that so far, well, the race-winning glory yesterday fell into the hands of Matteo Homola, who through that of course is currently the championship leader. So he is back-to-back championship leader on the back of last year's campaign, which he won in the end. But Attila Bucci very fast today as well, and already back in the lead, enjoying a 3-second gap, now lapping about 2/10 faster than Kadlecik, but great race by Kadlecik, honestly. He's moved himself up from 5th on the grid, made very short work of the front row starters, and pretty much already on the opening lap followed Bucci through. And even though he's not been able to really stay together with him, he's definitely driven at a very serious pace, fending off, for example, very experienced Giacomo Germandi, who's already done a lot of seasons in the TCR world. So has Matteo Homola. 1:45.0 by Kadlecik, 45.3 by Germandi, 44.4 by Homola. And look at the Slovakian driver. He has already caught up with the Italian, and we will have a fight for the podium on our hands for the remaining 8 minutes. I suppose it's not going to take the remaining 8 minutes, but who knows, because Giacomo Germandi, yeah, he's a very special guy when it comes to defending, and you really need to keep that in mind and be smart and clever if you want to try to overtake the Honda.
And he was in the exact same position yesterday, wasn't he? Defending for 3rd place, unfortunately going wide on the final turn on the penultimate lap of the race, losing a podium finish, but showcasing all his talent and of course all his defensive skills. With now a driver of the caliber of Matteo Homola, of course, behind him, it will be very tough for Germandi to keep him behind, but of course nothing is certain in motorsport racing, with Germandi now getting towards turn 1 with Homola right behind him.
Already lining up for a move. He had a tiny little look down the inside. He's just testing his opponent. He knows that he needs to play this safe. Having scored victory yesterday, he will probably not have enough time to catch up with Bucci. So he's gonna have to try and maximize the result today, and 3rd place would probably be just that. Maybe Martin Kadlecik would be another prey that he can aim for, but let's see how quickly he can deal with Germandi, if at all.
He's now trying to perhaps line up a move towards the first of the 2 chicanes of the track, of course being one of the overtaking spots here at Balaton Park circuit, but thinking better of it, you know, waiting for perhaps the right moment, or inducing Germandi into a mistake like he was forced to yesterday in the final stages of the race. But of course Homola now with a great run actually out of turn 10 towards the back straight that, you know, brings us to the final chicane and then the last 3 corners of the track, where perhaps Homola could potentially build up a move right now.
Germandi already going defensive. Matteo Homola trying it down the inside, but he's having to bail out of that, but forcing Germandi into the mistake. He's only got the outside line to choose, so Matteo Homola remains behind the Italian driver, and onto the start and finish straight we go. Both cars very close behind one another. Matteo Homola, is he going to try a move down the inside? Yes, he does. And through he goes. So in the end, this looked actually easy, but Germandi definitely trying to respond and pushing Matteo Homola into the left-hander, trying to fight his way back and through, and simply force himself down the inside on the Hyundai, and he's really going for it from the distance, even going sideways slightly. Matteo Homola saw that coming, so left the door open and still managed to find enough grip round the outside to actually stay ahead. But that was a great move by Matteo Homola, who then was checking his mirrors and responded to that situation beautifully. Giacomo Germandi tried to go very aggressive on the fight back, and he really sent it down the inside, but was not successful in the end. There's another touch. Germandi very late on the brakes. Is he going to try another move down the inside into the hairpin? No, he isn't, because he's going to have to concentrate on what is happening behind him as well, where there is already René Kircher lined up together with Adam Colt. This is a 4-way fight. Matteo Homola, of course, trying to leave it only to the other 3 guys and disappear into the distance, because exactly that is doing Martin Kadlecik. Adam Colt round the outside into the chicane. Basically just a little look, not a proper overtaking attempt 4 minutes left. And we are moving back onto the start and finish straight. Germand is still very close to Homola. So the fight for third is spicing up at the moment. Homola tries to go late on the brakes. Still be right in the apex of the first right-hander. Germand is still very close. Cutting the curbs as much as he can to stay close with the Hyundai. Thanks to that, Martin Kadlecik. Look at Martin Kadlecik, because he's jumped away from Homola thanks to the fight, but he's also jumped closer to Attila Bucci. They lapped pretty much at exact the same pace on the last lap, 1:45.0 for both of the leading two drivers, but Kadlecik has now managed to reduce the gap to just under 2 seconds.
It's a really brave effort by Kadlecik right now to try and get back to Attila Bucci for P1, gaining a couple of tenths in the previous 2 laps, 5 tenths quicker 2 laps before as well. So Kadlecik really showing not only good pace but also great tire management skills. Of course, with the Czech driver waiting for the final part of the race to try and pounce and try and attack Bucci, but of course the Hungarian looking to save his tires in the second part of the race. Perhaps we will see now a response for him.
2.5 minutes left. Adam Gold still slotted behind Kircher. Germandi up ahead in fourth. Homola third. Not really running away that much. He's now managed a good lap. So 1:45.0 by Bucci, 44.9 by Kadlecik. Very tiny margin, only 4 thousandths of a second between them on the previous lap. Homola 45.0 as well, but he lapped 7 tenths quicker. And this is Jiří Zbožínek getting closer to the pole sitter, Vít Smejkal. They are currently fighting for 13th on the road.
Just 1 minute and 33 seconds remaining now for the TCR Eastern Europe guys. Of course, the TCR European Endurance will go on for yet another 30 minutes of racing after the first half of the race will be done, with Attila Bucci now 1.9 seconds ahead of Martin Kadlecik. For the TCR European Endurance guys, we have, of course, Eric Brigliadori in P1 at the moment, and in P9 overall. He is still behind David Kajaya, has been lapping consistently quicker than some of the guys of the TCR Eastern Europe, and of course staying into 9th position, just 5 tenths away from Kajaya at the moment. Second place is for Zekai Özen, for Ibrahim Okiai in the other Texaco Team AMS car, whereas Zoltan Barkovic and Balázs Takács are currently in third place with the Cupra Leon DSG car with a Red Bull livery that we will see later on during the race that we were talking about yesterday, actually.
Attila Bucci, the race leader, making his way around the final couple of corners and on to the last lap. 30 seconds left on the clock, so this is the final one for the Eastern European TCR, but look at Martin Kadlecik, 2.2 seconds behind. 44.8 for Bucci, 45.1 for Martin Kadlecik. Kadlecik at a great pace, staying very close to Bucci. A little too far away for an overtaken attempt, but still great race by the Czech driver, also great race by the Hungarian youngster. Attila Bucci dominating the proceedings today. And we have got a black and white flag warning for a couple of cars. Firstly, car number 3, Giacomo Germandi, and also car number 14, Petr Čížek, for exceeding track limits, effectively cutting the corners a little too much to the steward's liking. But we are on the final lap. Attila Bucci goes for it. The Aditis Racing Audi still in the view. They are close to one another. Attila Bucci making no mistakes in the race lead. Say again, stripped of the victory yesterday, but now on the run to score another one, and hopefully for himself he'll be able to keep this one Attila Bucci from 4th on the grid. Made all the moves right at the start of the race. Now makes his way around the final couple of corners. Attila Bucci is now taking victory under the Hungarian waved flag at the finish. And look at Adam Colt finding his way through and past René Kircher on the last lap. Fantastic stuff from the Czech driver, who has stolen that 5th place from René Kircher right in the last sector of the last lap. Great stuff by the Czech driver. Attila Bucci victorious. Martin Kadlecik, fantastic achievement on his debut weekend in the championship, on his debut weekend in the car. So from virtual Formula 1, from computers, through the Twingos, through the Clios, he's now being welcomed in the TCR world with a podium on the opening weekend. Great stuff by Martin Kadlecik. Maťo Homola, yesterday's race winner, last year's series champion, coming home 3rd to score another podium and through that keep the championship lead at the end of the round number 1 of the 2024 Eastern European TCR season. Giacomo Germandi coming home 4th from Adam Colt, who has made the move for 5th on the very last lap through René Kircher. Petr Čížek 7th, Kajaya 8th, and then it is the pairing of Konukoglu and Brigliadori in 9th currently, and they will through that take the race lead for the endurance part of the race.
Yes, with the pit stop window opening in 2.5 minutes time right now, with Eric Brigliadori leaving the car to the driver who started yesterday, Torgut Konukoglu, who will be looking to bring the car home in 1st place to win the opening race, not only of the TCR European Endurance 2024 season, but of the championship's history as well.
So Attila Bucci victorious. The drivers have been told not to drive overly slowly on the final lap, or the one lap in which they're headed back to the pits, because of course the endurance race is still on and the drivers will be racing at full speed past them, but the Eastern European drivers returning back to the pits and for the podium glories. 26.5 minutes, so now the time stamp has switched to the endurance timing as the Eastern European guys returning back to the pit. So just to sum up one last time, Attila Bucci victorious from Martin Kadlecik and Maťo Homola in the Eastern European TCR.
And so the TCR European Endurance guys are still racing with Eric Brigliadori now into the lead of the race. Of course, he was still leading the TCR European Endurance race earlier on during the first 30 minutes of racing, with now the pit stop window just 45 seconds away actually, with now the number 3 car of Zekai Özen actually being now on the TV coverage. Of course, the number 3 car, unfortunately, so finishing in the gravel yesterday after 10 laps, now running slightly behind the other competitors, but still fighting for the podium spot. And of course the Gen 1 lead for cars that did not receive any technical and mechanical updates since the start of the 2018 season. The TCR European Endurance letting cars from the Gen 1 as well as the DSG class racing in their new format, with the number 3 car now trying to get some mileage on as well, with Zekai Özen stepping in the car for the first time, actually not being able to race yesterday due to his teammate Pinar beaching the car in the gravel. But of course some very important mileage to be done today from the young Turk, as Eric Brigliadori is now starting to think about the pit stop phase, of course, with drivers getting ready to get in the car, as well as not only in the Audi RS3 car, but of course in the Cupra that we see right now, with Zoltan Barkovic ready to get behind the wheel, as Balázs Takács will be the one to step into the pit lane for the Zille Motorsport guys. Their home race actually today, currently racing in the DSG class, 2nd place in the category, but of course 3rd place overall, as the number 3 car is the first to take the car to the pits, as the number 3 will now engage the pit limiter and get Zekayozen out of the car to give Barkin Pinar the job to finish it off in this stage 2 of the opening TCR European Endurance race. Here is Ibrahim Okiai in the number 4 car, currently 2nd overall and in the lead of the DSG class. Of course, reserved to drivers and cars with the DSG gearbox. Okiai also part of the gentleman class as well, which is reserved to drivers of 50 years of age or more, 54 years old. The very experienced Turk driver with 10 Turkish championships to his name, and of course some experience in the FIA WTCC, of course the biggest world competition for TCR cars as right now. The number 3 car is in the pit lane, of course, changing a minimum of 2 tires and a mandatory driver swap. You see 2 mechanics are allowed per team, with 1 extra man dedicated to lollipop duties, as the car is now ready to be released from the pit lane. Beautiful images of both the live coverage from the track and from the pits, as the number 3 car will be ready to get back underway with Barkin Pinar behind the wheel of one of the 3 Texaco Team AMS entries. A team that believed in this project right away, fielding 3 cars in all classes, of course, trying to win them all, and currently able to lead all 3 classes, as the number 4, the leader of the DSG category, now gets towards the pit lane. We're still waiting for both Eric Brigliadori and Balazs Takac to get to the pit lane, but I think it will be just a matter of minutes, as we only have a couple of more clock rounds to go before the pit window closes, as Barkin Pinar gets back out on track and the number 4 car changes the front tires. Here is the race leader, Eric Brigliadori, after a phenomenal performance in qualifying and in stage 1 on Saturday. He now goes towards the pit lane, as the Cupra has just finished its pit stop, actually getting back underway now towards turn 2, but the images are staying rightfully so on the number 2 car, which now enters the pit lane at the start of lap 19. Eric Brigliadori doing a phenomenal job in the first part of the race, being considerably quicker than some of the TCR Eastern Europe guys, and let's not forget that he had way more fuel than the Eastern Europe drivers on board, as he needs to complete all the 55 minutes plus 1 additional lap to be, hopefully for him, crowned the first ever TCR European Endurance winner, together with Turgut Konukoglu, who is now getting on board his Audi RS3 LMS TCR with a sequential gearbox, fighting for the overall title, a car that has been hugely popular in the TCR scene and that Texaco Team AMS has prepared perfectly for this first round of the year and of the TCR European Endurance history as well. So now in the number 4 car, as we can see from the graphics on the left hand side, is Seda Kachan, the leader of the Ladies Trophy as well, 31 years of age. She was 2nd last year actually in the Turkish Championship. We heard from her yesterday after her great first stint in a very complicated race with safety cars and red flags. Of course, we're talking about stage 1 that was done yesterday, and here is the Zile Motorsport car with Zoltan Barkovic now getting back on the lead lap with the number 2 car almost ready to get back out of the pit lane. We talked about Zile Motorsport yesterday. A huge effort from the Hungarian team to be here after some delays in a fuel tank delivery on Friday, and a technical issue that forced them not to take part in qualifying. Despite that, they're bravely fighting for the DSG, when currently in 2nd place amongst cars with the DSG gearbox, and of course now in 3rd place overall with Pinar and Ozen currently 3rd, in stage 2, but of course, after their retirement yesterday, dropping to 4th in the overall standings. The lovely Cupra now looking to approach the first of the two ever so crucial chicanes of the track, a very recent track, of course, opened last May, only 11 months ago. So we're now witnessing the first ever international event for Balaton Park circuit. 4,150 meters of track divided into 16 corners, 10 to the left, 6 to the right, which has impressed drivers quite a lot. We were talking yesterday with Seda Kachan, for example, after her stint, interviewed by Antonio Caruccio, who let us know that the track is really fun for drivers. Of course, taking corners, sharp corners at that, with long straights. They're the perfect recipe for a great track, which only made sense for the TCR European Endurance to make it the opening round, not only of the series first championship, but of course in the history of the TCR European Endurance. And here with Texaco Team AMS in their pit box, looking on and supporting their drivers from afar. The Turks currently leading all three classes. The overall with Turgut Konukoglu and Eric Brigliadori, the DSG class with Seda Kachan and Ibrahim Ogiay, and of course the Gen 1 class with Barkin Pinar and Zekai Özen. 70 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this stage 2. Let's not forget that we had 55 more minutes of racing yesterday, where Konukoglu and Brigliadori once again stood out as the fastest pair. Here is the number 2 car with the white, orange and red livery, with the TCR European Endurance banner on top. And it was a great effort from Konukoglu and Brigliadori yesterday. Brigliadori, of course, being a two-time under 25 champion in the TCR Italy, fighting for the TCR Italy title back in 2020 and 2021, only losing the crown by only 3 points in 2020, but showcasing his talent at only 23 years of age. Here's the number 4 car with Seda Kachan behind the wheel. Second in the Turkish Championship last year. She is one of the driving forces of female motorsport in Eastern Europe. She made her international debut last year in TCR Italy around Imola for the final round of the championship, and she showcased great fighting and driving skills. And talking about fights, we have Zoltan Barkovic ready to take on the number 3 car, the Gen 1 of Barkin Pinar. Of course, it's a fight only on track for stage 2, with Barkovic now trying to get the under and over on his rival with a great move by the Cupra, who makes it stick towards turn 4. Let's see if Pinar tries a switchback on the back straight towards turn 5, 6 and 7. Of course, let's not forget that Pinar is actually some laps behind due to the retirement of the number 3 car yesterday. But a great move from Zoltan Barkovic, with the DSG class shining once again after being on the front row of the championship's first ever race start yesterday, with Ibrahim Okiai and of course Seda Kachan taking the start. And then once Okiai got in the car, thanks to a safety car period and a brilliant strategy call from the Texaco Team AMS guys, the DSG car was leading the race actually for the first time in quite some time, and for the first time ever in a series that has both sequential and DSG cars partaking in it. 14 minutes and 35 seconds to go, with the Cupra now steadily in 3rd place in both stage 2 and in the overall standings, with Eric Brigliadori and Turgut Konukoglu still in P1 with a 45-second gap over Seda Kachan, currently in 2nd place, the number 4 car leading the DSG class. And it will be a great result for them after the issues had in free practice, but they ironed them out pretty well with the car functioning as it should, with two great drivers behind the wheel. Now less than a quarter of the race time to go, at least for this stage 2, with Turgut Konukoglu still leading the way. He was able to set a 1 minute 49 seconds, 0.5 in the previous lap, with Selja Kachan actually gaining almost 0.8 of a second. She is, together with Zoltan Barkovic, the quickest car in the field right now, which shows the great potential of the female Turkish driver, currently in second place but leading the DSG class. And of course, talking about DSG, the Cupra here with Zoltan Barkovic, and thanks to Balázs Takács in the first half of the race.
One of the protagonists of the first part of the second stage of the race with Ozen. So how was this race for you today?
Today's race is too fun because I missed the race. Yesterday I can't do the race because of some problems in the start. But today is so fun to drive. I missed it. So everything is great.
And how do you like the Balaton Park circuit?
Balaton Park circuit is a very good track, I think, because it's new. The track, the chicanes are so good to drive, so fun to drive.
Thank you so much and good luck and see you hopefully on the podium soon.
Thank you, thank you.
To you, Daniele.
Thank you, Antonio. Some lovely words from Zekai Ozen, of course, one of the junior drivers.
Thank you so much.
Here in the series.
We take other two now, okay?
He
and
was
then when
a
on
great...
the way back we stop in Cupra and then done.
He was incredible in the first part of the race, with Ozen helping Pinar get back behind the wheel in the second half of the race, in stage 2 at least. It was a great effort from him, but now we have yet another interview.
And we are still in front of Texaco AMS team with one of the most important drivers on the grid of the TCR European Endurance, because he set the pole position, and in the first part of the second stage we are basically one of the fastest drivers on track, considering that you have a full tank. So an amazing pace for you, Eric.
Yeah, quite happy. I did a good start and also a good fighting with all the other TCR Eastern Europe drivers. Obviously, I couldn't take too many risks because we are racing for different standings, but yeah, quite happy about the pace. Let's hope for a good finish on the race.
What a long time not being in the car for you. You find a good agreement with the Texaco Team AMS. What does it mean for you, race with such a huge motorsport team?
Yeah, happy to be here with them. They are such a kind people, good team, professional. Just the first race of the season, but until now everything went well. So I'm sure that we can continue like this.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you. Ciao.
Some lovely words from Eric Brigliadori, of course, the fastest driver of the field in the first half of stage 2. He was the quickest driver in qualifying as well, but his talent is second to none in the TCR European scene at the moment for drivers under 25 years of age. He is still really young and has a bright future ahead of him, with Brigliadori giving the car to Konukoglu in perfect conditions and of course in P1. Now Brigliadori waiting for his teammate to bring it home in the final 10 minutes and 6 seconds of the race. And here is Konukoglu with the number 2 car, handling the final chicane quite well before heading towards the final couple of corners of the Balaton Park circuit. Doing a great job to keep P1 at the moment, with now yet another interview ready to be presented by Antonio Caruccio, and of course waiting for that we will shortly watch once again the number 2 car getting towards the corners number 3 and 4, the first sector of the race being very crucial, but now we are live for an interview.
And we are still in the pit lane with Mauricio Slaviero. We took him from race control just to give a few words about this first event. race one of the championship still not over because 10 minutes to the end. We are almost closing the second stage. But what can you bring from Balaton onto the next races of the season, Mauricio?
Well, Antonio, first of all, we are really happy, about the weekend. We finally started. That was really important to do. Here we are. So the championship is born. The championship exists. So we are very happy about it. All the teams are happy. They are supportive. So we are very optimistic, about the other races that we are having. Now we have in the middle of May Vallelunga, then Misano in June. Then we finish at the end of August in the Slovakia ring. So more teams are coming. We are really working a lot on that. And in the end, we are happy. We are here. Things are happening. The format is great. All the teams are liking very much. There is nothing to be changed. The concept is really important, I think, for the drivers because the budget's really low for them. They can have even more time than a sprint normal race, but the cost is almost the half of that. So I think there is really a format that will be very successful.
Thank you so much, Mauricio. Those are all good reasons to be on the next race in Vallelunga.
That's it, for sure.
Lovely words from the promoter of the series, Mauricio Slaviero, and he was right. Lovely to hear from him talking about budget and, of course, track time being two of the most important factors right now in motorsport. But this very new format, endurance format for the TCR cars, giving drivers a chance to race quite a lot and of course get some experience, which is the case, for example, of Zekai Özen after missing out on the race yesterday on part 1 because of the retirement of the number 3 car before he could even jump behind the wheel of his Audi. Now getting a second chance in stage 2, of course running a couple of laps behind compared to third place from Zoltan Barkovic, but still leading the Gen 1 class with 7 minutes to go now on the clock. And here is the number 3 car of Barkin Pinar, taking over from Özen, whose words we heard with the first interview earlier today. The number 3 car leading the Gen 1 class, which, remember, is reserved for cars that have not received any technical updates since the start of 2018 as per technical notifications released by WSC, with the Audi Gen 1 still being quite competitive, lapping so far in a 1 minute 49.4, being the third fastest car on track. The fastest driver actually being Zoltan Barkovic with the Seat Leon car, doing a great job so far. Here it is, thanks to the lovely work by the camera guys and the whole technical staff, with the number 60 now racing for third place and of course for the DSG win, now in second position in that category. And now we have another interview.
And with the last of our protagonists in the pit lane, just ask you, how was the first part of the race and how this Cupra is doing in the Balaton Park circuit?
This race is this is my first race this category, and I am first in Balaton circuit. Little bit tired. It was long, very long time for me in the car, but I think I will try go better, and I will lot of practice. And this category is very good category, and I am very glad that I am here. I can hear. Okay.
And we are glad to have you here with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Lovely words from Balázs Takács after his first part of the race, home race of course, for Zille Motorsport and their Cupra Leon DSG car. The Hungarian team ready to be back in the championship shortly for the Slovakia ring, the final round of the season, as Mauricio Slaviero was previewing before 4 rounds of racing here in the TCR European Endurance's first ever season. After Balaton will be in Vallelunga from the 17th to the 19th of May for round 2, as the Misano World Circuit will instead be the theatre of round 3 for an amazing night race, of course, giving the fans and the drivers a surreal experience on the lovely Italian track near the Adriatic Sea, with Misano hosting the penultimate round of the season before heading in under, hopefully, bright sunshine in Slovakia for the final round of the season around the Slovakia ring on the 25th of August. 3 minutes and 50 seconds now remaining on the clock, with stage 2 ready to come to a close, and of course the opening round of the TCR European Endurance's history. With that, Turgut Kanukoglu still holding down the fort in P1 for Texaco Team AMS, a team that is leading all 3 classes at the moment, the DSG category, led by Seda Kachan together with Ibrahim Okiai, and here the Gen 1 leaders of Barkim Pinar and Zekai Özen, lapping pretty consistently now in the 1 minute 49s, faster actually than the race leader for the last couple of laps. 2/10 quicker was Barkim Pinar compared to Turgut Kanukoglu, who of course is not taking any risks at the moment. He's just trying to hold down P1 and trying to get the car to the finish line in first position in one piece. Fastest driver on track right now is Zoltan Barkovic. We were talking about the Zilla Motorsport car earlier before actually switching to an interview by Antonio Caruccio with Balázs Takács, of course Barkovic's teammate in this round. And it's very interesting to hear from the drivers right after their driver stint, of course, their emotions, and it was also interesting to see the pit stop phases, to see the dynamics between the 2 drivers. We saw yesterday Kanukoglu giving Brigliadori some tips before the Italian took the car to the flag in P1, leading the race after stage 1. And now Kanukoglu doing just the same with 2 minutes and 2 seconds left on the clock. Here is the number 4 car of Seda Kachan, the Turk, doing a great job so far, being the 2nd fastest car on track. Kachan, of course, being one of the driving forces of female motorsport racing in Eastern Europe, 31 years of age, but a very talented driver who is taking her first steps in international competitions, making her debut outside of Turkey in the TCR Italy in 2023, before of course signing with Texaco Team AMS for the full TCR European Endurance season here in 2024. Lovely shot from the drone, who has been incredibly useful this weekend to see the lovely Balaton Park circuit from above. Of course, a track that was opened less than 12 months ago and that is able to offer the latest GPS technologies, as well as 48 pit garages. We also saw the brand new hotel that stands on the final corners of the track, which is used for both national and international competitions, and the TCR World making its debut here in Balaton for the start of the 2024 season. We see now the number 3 car of Barkim Pinar handling the hairpin quite well, getting towards the apex, trying to smooth the steering out as slowly as possible to get better traction, whereas a couple of corners in front, the number 4 car of Seda Kachan is roaring towards the final 2 corners of the track, ready to start what is likely to be their final lap as the clock strikes 0, and we'll have Turgut Kanukoglu taking the car to the finish line. Here it is, the leader of the opening race of the TCR European Endurance's history in 2024, as the Turk is trying to make history for both him, Eric Brigliadori, and Texaco Team AMS, becoming the series' first outright winners. A lovely job from Texaco all the way through, of course, with Brigliadori doing an exceptional work. In the first part of the race, a little lockup for Konukoglu, who's trying to push as hard as he can in the final part of the race, leaving nothing on the table, as it should be in motorsport racing, with Konukoglu now rounding out the final corner and getting ready to start the final lap of the race. The last 4,150 meters to go for the opening round of the TCR European Endurance, with Turgut Konukoglu behind the wheel. We heard from Eric Brigliadori before. He was trying to make some inroads in the first part of the race together with the TCR Eastern Europe guys and getting actually up to 9th place overall, fighting for a good placement, not only for the second part of the race, but also to show all of his talent, which he did brilliantly, as his car was fueled for 30 more minutes of racing. And now, as we can see from the graphics, we are in the final lap of the race. And so Turgut Konukoglu now going towards turn 7, a long right-hand corner that will bring the Audi RS3 LMS car towards the first of the 2 chicanes here in the second part of the Balaton Park circuit. Lovely work from Konukoglu, who is pushing right towards the finish line. He was the fastest driver on track the previous lap, which means that he is just not leaving anything on the table, pushing as hard as he can before the end, with Konukoglu ready now to go towards the final chicane before the last 3 corners of the track. It was a lovely work from Texaco Team AMS in all classes, but the overall standings are the most important ones, of course, with Turgut Konukoglu now rounding out the final corner of the first ever TCR European Endurance race, taking home the race win, with Konukoglu and Brigliadori being the first ever TCR European Endurance winners here in Balaton Park circuit. Phenomenal stuff from the Texaco Team AMS crew, and the number 2 car being the class of the field really this weekend. But let's not forget about the DSG class as well, with Seda Kachan now ready to take the car to the flag. The Turk doing a great job yesterday at the start, staying away from trouble and gaining a couple of spots up into second place before doing a phenomenal work together with Ibrahim Okiai between stage 1 and stage 2, and therefore Seda Kachan and Ibrahim Okiai will be the winners of the DSG class, with the Cupra of Zoltan Barkovic and Balazs Takac closely behind in 3rd place, just 4 seconds away from the win in the DSG class. And now Barkin Pinar will round out the final corner, not only to finish in 4th place overall, but to take the win in the Gen 1 class as well. Lovely work from Texaco Team AMS, who is able to take all 3 victories here at Balaton Park circuit.